At 40 degrees below zero, a Canada lynx kitten may have only a couple of days before its energy reserves collapse. This one has been alone for 6. That's not long. Out here, it's a lifetime. Somewhere in the Yukon's boreal forest, a kitten no larger than a house cat crouches beneath a snow-laden spruce. Its fur, already thick, already silver, is the only barrier between warm blood and a cold that kills without warning. Here's what seems impossible. This kitten weighs less than 10 pounds. It has never hunted alone. It has no fat reserves to burn. And yet the Canada lynx is one of the few predators on Earth built to thrive in exactly this environment. But there's a difference between a species built for winter and a single kitten alone who hasn't finished learning. The snowshoe hare population in this region just crashed. The lynx's only reliable prey has become scarce at the worst possible moment. And the kitten's mother, she's nowhere to be found. This isn't a story about luck. It's evolution tested at the edge of survival, and whether instinct is enough. Deep in the Yukon taiga, dawn arrives not with warmth, but with stillness. The boreal forest stretches endlessly. Black spruce, white spruce, paper birch. All of it cloaked in snow so deep it buries the underbrush entirely. At this latitude, winter is not a season. It is a state of siege. The Canada lynx kitten presses itself against the trunk of a fallen tree. Its ears, tall black-tufted, rotate slowly, scanning for sound. Its oversized paws, already wider than an adult house cat's, rest on the snow without sinking. Those paws are the first clue this animal is built for exactly this place. A Canada lynx's foot can spread up to about 4 inches in diameter. The result is a loading pressure of approximately 30 grams per square centimeter, roughly 4 times lighter than a bobcat of similar weight. In deep powder, where other predators flounder, the lynx walks on top. But the kitten's paws are still growing, its coordination is still developing, and right now it is burning calories faster than it can replace them. At 7 months old, a Canada lynx kitten has learned the basics: how to stalk, how to pounce, how to read its mother's signals. What it has not learned is how to be alone. The separation happened sometime in the last 12 hours. Perhaps a wolverine interrupted a hunt. Perhaps the mother pursued prey across a frozen river, and the kitten couldn't follow. The forest offers no explanations, only consequences. Now the kitten faces its first solo decision: stay hidden and conserve heat, or move and search for food. What would you do? Stay hidden to save heat or move to find food? Tell me in the comments before we see what the kitten chooses. It stays still, for now. This isn't timidity, it's calculation, the kind encoded into every lynx that has survived a Yukon winter. When the air itself can freeze exposed tissue in minutes, movement without purpose is a death sentence. But stillness has limits too. Somewhere beneath the snow, a heartbeat pulses. Something small, something warm. The kitten's ears lock forward. Not far from there, the forest holds an absence. The mother Canada lynx, a lean 5-year-old female, is 2 kilometers east, moving through a stand of dense spruce. She is hunting. She has no way of knowing her kitten is no longer following. This isn't cruelty, it's biology. Canada lynx mothers invest heavily in their offspring. A female nurses her kittens for 5 months, hunts for them for 3 more, and teaches them to kill through the long autumn. But by midwinter, the bond begins to loosen. Kittens start to wander. Mothers stop waiting. In most years, this gradual separation works. The kitten shadows its mother until spring, learning the final lessons: how to cache food in snow, how to wait out a blizzard, how to read the subtle compression in a hare's track that reveals direction. This year is different. When the snowshoe hare population crashes, as it does every 8 to 11 years in a cycle that has persisted for centuries, everything changes. Adult lynx expand their territories. Hunting trips grow longer. The margin between survival and starvation narrows. The mother is not abandoning her kitten. She is doing what every lynx must do when prey is scarce. She is covering ground. Studies in the Yukon have documented lynx traveling over 15 kilometers in a single night during low hare years. A kitten cannot match that pace. Eventually, inevitably, the gap widens. What did the kitten learn before the separation? Enough to recognize prey, enough to crouch, to stalk, to spring. But the snowshoe hare is among the fastest accelerators in the boreal forest, reaching roughly 45 kilometers per hour within a few bounds. Catching one requires timing that only comes with practice. The mother taught presence. She taught patience. She did not have time to teach precision. And now, 2 kilometers east, she pauses. Her ears rotate. Something in the forest has shifted. A sound, a scent, a pressure change that humans cannot detect. For a moment she is still. Then she moves on. The kitten will have to find its own way. Deeper into the habitat, the snow tells a story. A trail of tracks, long hind feet landing ahead of small forepaws, weaves between birch trunks. The signature of a snowshoe hare. The kitten has found it. The Canada lynx and the snowshoe hare are locked in one of the most tightly coupled predator-prey relationships on Earth. In peak years, hares can make up over 90% of a lynx's diet. When hares are abundant, lynx thrive, reproduce, expand. When hares crash, lynx starve, scatter, decline. Right now in this stretch of Yukon forest, the hares are near their lowest point. The kitten doesn't understand cycles, only hunger. It follows the track, placing each oversized paw with care. The snowshoe hare's trail is fresh, perhaps 20 minutes old. The scent still clings to the snow crystals. Then the trail splits. One path curves left toward a dense thicket. The other angles right toward open ground. The kitten hesitates. An adult lynx would read the subtle cues, the depth of the track, the spacing between prints, the direction of the wind. It would know that snowshoe hares almost always flee toward cover, never toward open space. The kitten chooses wrong. It moves right, into the open. And the hare, hidden in the thicket 15 meters away, bolts in the opposite direction. By the time the kitten reacts, the snowshoe hare is already 10 meters gone, its massive hind feet throwing powder like a white explosion. The kitten gives chase, but the gap only widens. Within seconds, the hare vanishes into a maze of fallen timber. The kitten stops, breath clouding, calories spent. This cycle has been documented for over 200 years, first in fur trapping records from the Hudson's Bay Company, later in rigorous population studies. The pattern is remarkably consistent. Hare populations peak, then collapse. Lynx populations follow, lagging by 1 to 2 years. This is what inexperience costs. Not death, not yet, but energy. And in the boreal winter, energy is the only currency that matters. But the kitten has learned something. The next track it finds, it will read differently. If there is a next track. When the light fades, the forest transforms. What looked harsh in daylight becomes lethal in darkness. Temperatures drop another 15 degrees Celsius. The snow, already cold, begins to radiate heat away from anything that touches it. The air grows so dry that breathing itself becomes a small act of dehydration. The kitten has found shelter, a hollow beneath a toppled spruce where the branches trap a pocket of still air. It curls tight, tucking its paws beneath its body, wrapping its short tail across its nose. This posture is not random, it is thermoregulation at its most precise. A Canada lynx's fur contains 2 layers. a dense undercoat of fine fibers that trap air, and an outer layer of longer guard hairs that repel moisture. Together, they create insulation so effective that a lynx can maintain a core body temperature of around 38 degrees, even when the air outside drops below -40. But insulation only slows heat loss. It does not stop it. To survive the night, the kitten must generate heat, and heat requires fuel. Without food, the body begins consuming itself. First glycogen stored in the liver, then fat, then muscle. A kitten with no fat reserves reaches muscle consumption quickly. And muscle consumption means weakness. Weakness means slower hunts. Slower hunts mean no food. No food means death. The clock is always running. High above the canopy, something else is hunting. A great horned owl, one of the few predators capable of killing a lynx kitten, glides between the trees on silent wings. Its facial disc funnels sound to ears offset on its skull, allowing it to pinpoint prey beneath the snow by sound alone. The owl is not searching for lynx. It prefers hares, voles, grouse. But a small, weakened kitten, visible against the snow, would not be ignored. The kitten does not know the owl is there, but something in its instincts, some ancient pattern inherited from 10,000 generations, keeps it pressed flat, keeps it still, keeps it silent. The owl passes. The forest settles into that particular silence that deep cold creates. No insects, no rustle, just the distant crack of trees contracting in the freeze. The night continues. Somewhere around 3 in the morning, the kitten wakes. Not from danger, from hunger. It emerges from the hollow and begins to move. Slowly, carefully, testing the snow with each step. And then, at the base of a birch tree, it finds something. A red squirrel, dead, half buried in the snow. Likely killed by a marten and abandoned, frozen solid. The kitten sniffs, paws at it, begins to chew. It is not a hare. It is not a proper kill, but it is protein. It is survival. By dawn, the kitten has consumed enough to buy another day. The Yukon winter will continue for 3 more months. The Canada lynx kitten will lose more hunts than it wins. It will go days without eating, then gorge on a single successful catch. It will learn slowly, painfully, where hares hide, how they run, when to wait and when to strike. Some kittens do not survive their first winter alone. Studies suggest that juvenile mortality in low hare years can exceed 50%. The cold is unforgiving, the prey is scarce, the competition is fierce, but the lynx as a species has endured this cycle for millennia. The same adaptations that let an adult thrive, the snowshoe paws, the insulating fur, the explosive ambush speed, exist in the kitten too. They are not fully developed, but they are there. Evolution does not guarantee survival. It offers a chance. This kitten, crouched in the snow with squirrel blood on its muzzle, has taken that chance and held on. The mother is still out there somewhere to the east, hunting her own circuit. They may never cross paths again. Or they may meet in spring, when territories soften and the forest fills with new hares, new kittens, new cycles beginning. For now, the kitten rests, the forest exhales, and the clock, for one more day, keeps running. The boreal forest does not reward the strongest. It rewards the most prepared. A Canada lynx kitten, alone at 7 months old, carries within it every adaptation its ancestors refined over hundreds of thousands of years. Paws that float on snow. Fur that defies the cold. Instincts that whisper when to move and when to stay still. But adaptation is only the beginning. What happens next? The hunts, the failures, the lessons written in hunger, that is where survival is decided. Not every kitten makes it through, but every kitten that does carries the proof that life, even at 40 below, finds a way forward. If this story pulled you deeper into the world of the Canada lynx, subscribe. There's more to explore. Next time, we follow the snowshoe hare, the animal that controls the fate of an entire forest. and ask a simple question: what happens when the hunted become too many to survive?